Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel, especially during this magical season. Today, I have a very special Christmas story for you. It's not just a holiday tale, but a lesson about miracles, kindness, and how the greatest gifts often come in unexpected ways. This story is called The Christmas List. There was a man named David, in his late 40s, who owned a small, struggling bookstore in a cozy but forgotten part of the city. This year, the Christmas spirit felt distant. Sales were down, the rent was due, and David was facing the real possibility of having to close his beloved chapter and verse bookstore after the holidays. The only light in his life was his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, whose boundless optimism about Christmas was the one thing keeping his hope alive. One snowy evening, as David was counting the day's meager earnings, Lily placed a folded piece of paper on the counter. "It's my Christmas list for Santa, Daddy, but it's a special one," she said with a twinkle in her eye. David opened it, expecting to see toys and games. Instead, he read 1. Help Daddy's bookstore be happy again. 2. Make Mrs. Henderson next door feel less lonely. 3. Find a home for the stray cat in the alley. 4. A real Christmas tree for our apartment. David's heart swelled and broke at the same time. "These are wonderful wishes, sweetheart," he said, his voice thick. "But Santa's magic, sometimes it needs a little help from us." The next day, a mysterious customer, an elderly gentleman with kind eyes and a worn coat, browsed the shelves. He noticed the "everything must go" sign in the window and the sadness in David's posture. Before leaving, he purchased a single old poetry book. As he was leaving, he turned and said, "Young man, sometimes the story we need isn't on the shelf, it's in the community around us." David thought about those words all night. The community. He looked at Lily's list again. Her first wish was for the bookstore. He couldn't make people buy books, but maybe he could give them a reason to come in. Inspired, David decided to take a leap of faith. Instead of a closing down sale, he would host a Christmas story hour every evening until Christmas Eve. He cleared a corner, brought in old armchairs, and put up a sign offering free hot cocoa and stories. He had nothing to lose. The first evening, only Mrs. Henderson, his lonely neighbor, and Lily showed up. David read The Polar Express. It was sweet, but felt like another failure. However, Mrs. Henderson thanked him with tears in her eyes, saying it was the first time she hadn't felt alone in years. One item on Lily's list was already coming true. The second evening, a few more people wandered in from the cold, curious about the warm light and the smell of cocoa. David read a classic Christmas tale. People lingered, browsed the shelves, and a couple actually bought books. Then the turning point came. A local blogger, a young woman named Maya, stumbled into the story hour to escape the snow. She was captivated by the cozy atmosphere and David's heartfelt reading. The next day, she wrote a beautiful article titled "The Little Bookstore That Could," Finding Christmas Magic on Maple Street. She mentioned Lily's selfless Christmas list. Something miraculous began to happen. People from all over the city started coming, not out of pity, but out of a yearning for genuine connection. They bought books, yes, but more importantly, they brought things. One family, after hearing about the stray cat, brought a cat carrier and supplies. Item 3 on the list was checked. Another customer, a retired carpenter, offered to bring a small real Christmas tree from his brother's farm. Item 4. The bookstore was bustling, but the real challenge remained: saving the business. The rent was due January 1st. The increased sales helped, but it wasn't enough. David felt the old fear creeping back in on Christmas Eve after his last packed story hour. He was tidying up, overwhelmed with gratitude, but still worried when the elderly gentleman from the first day returned. "Your daughter's list made the newspaper," the man said with a smile. "My name is Arthur. I used to own a publishing house." He placed a thick envelope on the counter. "This isn't charity, it's an advance. I want to partner with you. We'll turn chapter and verse into a community literary center. You have something money can't buy. You've built a home for hearts, not just books." David was speechless. He opened the envelope. It was enough to pay the rent for a year and begin renovations. The first wish on Lily's list, the most impossible one, was coming true in a way he never imagined. On Christmas morning, David and Lily sat by their real Christmas tree, the stray cat, now named Booker, purring in Lily's lap. "Daddy," Lily whispered, looking at the star on top of the tree. "Santa's magic worked, but it looked different than I thought." David hugged her tight. "You taught us all the magic, Lily. You showed me that the greatest gifts aren't what we get, but what we create for others. You wanted to fix the bookstore, but you really fixed our whole community."